Ji, you're good to go, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Dr. Afshan Homa at the PON webinar and the topic today is virtual education, remote learning during COVID-19. Specifically, we will be talking about the elements of virtual education and remote learning which are concerning to the teachers as well as the learners. The US mission in Pakistan, in collaboration with Pak US Alumni Network, has launched a virtual series of these discussions and webinars. And today we are here with our panelists. So today I'm first of all going to introduce my panelists with you. Me, myself, I'm a PON alumna for Peli from 2007 and then PhD from Michigan in 2013. We have 3 other PON members with us who are our worthy speakers of this webinar. So I welcome all of them. First of all, we have Khadija Bakhtiar with us, and she's a Fulbright alumna PON Islamabad chapter. Khadija is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Teach for Pakistan, which nurtures leadership to end educational inequity in Pakistan. Teach for Pakistan is a unique initiative, and this mainly develops a professional learning opportunity for outstanding graduates who commit 2 years at least for teaching in under-resourced schools in Pakistan. So that's an amazing initiative in itself. Then we have Mr. Faisal Shehzad Khan. I welcome you, Faisal. He is the IVLP alumnus for PON KP chapter. And Mr. Faisal is currently an assistant professor and head of the Department of Sharia and Law at the Islamia College Peshawar. He leads a team of interdisciplinary professionals who are involved in conducting research in the fields which I love to talk about and read about. And the fields are gender-based violence, tolerance through education, human rights, and civics as well. So welcome, Faisal. And then I welcome Mahwish Ali Khan. She is also IVLP alumna from KP chapter PON. Mahwish Ali Khan is the founder and president of Rana Child Welfare Foundation, which works with street and out of school children in Peshawar since 2016. When I was reading about her initiative, I was so excited about it, and I would love to talk about that initiative sometime as well. She has also initiated a skill development center for underprivileged women, where she teaches them digital skills. Welcome, Mahwish, welcome everyone. Today's topic, which is about remote learning, or we have been using the word distance education in our traditional literature. So remote learning or virtual learning and teaching. I would just begin with a small personal experience that it was year 2000 when I joined Intel Teach project, which was to train teachers how to use technology effectively in classrooms. And over the period of 20 years, we can see a huge shift. And I remember like 2 years ago, there was a panel discussion in Islamabad, and I was one of the panelists when they were asking a question to everyone, how would education look like in 2035? So I think 2 of us on the panel were of the view that this digitalization and technological transformation is going to change the whole fabric of education at every level. But we never knew that something like COVID will come up and completely change the scenario. So in past 3 months, we have witnessed a huge shift at every level and in every type of education, I would say. So my first question to all the panelists, I would like you to respond to this part one by one. First of all, is that how was your personal experience during past 3 months? Have you experienced the shift? Have you experienced the change that was happening while we were shifting the brick to click? that is the physical classroom to the online learning mode. So how was your own experience? What were your challenges, or what were your exciting features as well? So let's begin with you, Khadija. How did you experience all this?
Thank you, Afsha. So it's interesting जो आपने सवाल पूछा है वो एक दरिया को कूजे में बंद करने वाली बात है. It's a massive question, and I can share a little bit about what my experience from my vantage point at Teach for Pakistan, of course, was like in the past few months. I think the most obvious thing that comes to mind when you're talking about moving from the brick to the click in the context of what's happened in the last 4 months is that for the vast majority of children, the move from brick to click is not possible. It's just not realistic. The digital divide in our country is massive. जो हमने पहली एक्सरसाइज की जब कोविड शुरू हुआ, स्कूल्स लॉकडाउन में गए, हमारे जो इस वक्त फेलोज हैं इस्लामाबाद और पेशावर में बेस्ड, वो तकरीबन 2,500 बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं इन टोटल. And we discovered as we got on the phone and started calling these kids and their parents that less than 40% of the kids actually have a smartphone, which is the most basic form of technology that you need to use for any kind of meaningful remote learning, because उसके बाद फिर एक SMS enabled phone है और फिर वो भी नहीं है. So I think given that that's the reality, and this is from the data that I've seen from other sources, this is very much the experience for kids across Pakistan, not just the kids that Teach for Pakistan is serving right now. And so that really brings to mind the question of के सवाल शायद ये नहीं है कि क्या virtual learning successful है कि नहीं. सवाल शायद ये है कि virtual learning किन context में successful है, और जब हम वर्चुअल लर्निंग की बात करते हैं और उसके प्रॉमिस की बात करते हैं कि क्या उसमें कितना पोटेंशियल है, तो जो सबसे बड़ा जो कंसिडरेशन होना चाहिए वो इक्विटी लेंस का होना चाहिए. क्या वर्चुअल लर्निंग जिस हद तक भी वो काम करे या ना करे, क्या वो हमारे मुल्क में जो एग्जिस्टिंग हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में जो इनइक्विटीज हैं, क्या उनको बढ़ाएगी या उनको कम करने का उसमें पोटेंशियल है. इस वक्त जहां हम खड़े हैं, जो हम डिजिटल डिवाइड की रियलिटीज देख रहे हैं, तो अभी कोविड के एक्सपीरियंस में तो बड़ा क्लियर है कि वो उस वक्त बढ़ा रही हैं सिर्फ, because there are kids, there are schools, parents, families that can access tablets, that have teachers who have been able to make the transition fairly quickly, both infrastructurally and also in their own abilities to be able to manage remote learning. It's a whole other question that, every now and then I'll hear a funny story from somebody in my family saying कि वो कर तो रहे हैं बेचारे टीचर्स और स्कूल्स अपनी पूरी कोशिश, अच्छे प्राइवेट स्कूल्स भी, बट बच्चे जो हैं वो फुल फायदा उठा रहे हैं इस फैक्ट का कि रिमोट लर्निंग जो है वो थोड़ा सा अभी तक एक हाफ बेक्ड सॉल्यूशन है. So I think to just kind of sum it up, I think the thing that it brings to my mind really is that we can keep talking about the technology and the gaps there until the end of time, but really the other challenge that virtual learning has thrown up is that हर इंसान को जो अब इस सिनारियो में इन्वॉल्व है, चाहे वो वालिदैन हैं या वो टीचर्स हैं, उनको एक डिफरेंट किस्म का लीडरशिप रोल अज्यूम करना पड़ेगा to try and make remote learning work for these kids, right? Which means that there is a lot more individual responsibility on people to make independent efforts, not wait for some principal or some district official to come in and tell them कि क्या करना चाहिए, बट खुद से सोचना. और फिर बच्चों की जो नीड्स है, अगर अभी क्लास में 40 बच्चे हैं तो उनकी नीड्स के लिए डिफरेंशिएट करना कि किसी घर में कोई हालात है, किसी घर में कोई हालात है, वो आप कैसे कर पाएंगे. सो आई थिंक रियली द चैलेंज दैट वर्चुअल लर्निंग हैज थ्रोन अप इज द चैलेंज ऑफ लीडरशिप.
Nice, thank you. So Khadija, that's very interesting to listen to you whenever I talk to specifically the people in the field of education and I ask them, what challenges did you face? I love to listen to all of you when the challenge is not necessarily with you personally, but you are looking at the challenges of other people, of the learners as well as the teachers. So Faisal, how has been the experience with you in past 3 months?
Thank you very much, first of all, for giving me the chance to share my experience with you all. First of all, I would love to begin by saying that there is no substitute, as a matter of fact, to physical classroom. If we are taking virtual education as a substitute, well, that will not be rightly placed as a statement. So my personal experience was both as a teacher as well as a student, because I'm pursuing a PhD degree in law. So
Okay.
these were those unfortunate months or those unfortunate weeks that I had to attend classes both as a student and as well as a teacher. So it was kind of a mixed experience, I call it. It was both very good um,
Mhm.
and sometimes relatively very disappointing as well. It was good in a sense that I had more time and more chance to spend online. Uh, I had to develop familiarity and had to access online resources, which probably I might not have done otherwise if I was not only restricted to keep myself online.
Right.
Similarly, there was a shift or a transformation from a physical to an online or virtual classroom. Now, this was a big leap.
Mhm.
We are normally used to have a physical interactive university classrooms, which were
Right.
not possible when it comes to virtual classes.
Mhm.
This was something that I had to learn, and I call it a good transformation for myself, in addition to what uh, I had to do as a professor or as a teacher in a university. Uh, as I said, it was disappointing as well. It
Mhm.
was disappointing because there was either no or slow internet connectivity. Uh,
Okay.
um, I was not able to reach probably not less than half of the class that I would normally teach,
Uh-huh.
which constitute a big number. They were, let's say, if I had to teach to a class of 50 students, I was only able to be or get connected with only 25 or even less than 25. तो कुछ
Oh.
मुश्किल था सब तक पहुंचना. जो दूसरी डिसअपॉइंटिंग बात मुझे लगी वो ये लगी कि दो हमें उन रिसोर्सेज का तो पता होता है जिसकी ओपन एक्सेस होती है, जो ऑनलाइन जर्नल्स
Yep.
हैं या ऑनलाइन बुक्स हैं या ऑनलाइन डिजिटल रिसोर्सेज हैं, लाइब्रेरीज हैं,
Mhm.
लेकिन
Mhm.
they were not as many. I mean, there are still access restrictions to a number of journals, a number of articles, a number of books, a number of libraries, which I would love to have access to as a teacher and perhaps as a student as well, and even for my students. Uh,
Right.
Similarly, my experience as a student was fabulous. And when I say
Uh-huh.
fabulous, that was probably due to the fact that since I was relatively more self-disciplined and
Hmm.
there was this eagerness to learn. मुझे खुद चूंकि मैं PhD कर रहा था, तो इस लेवल पे आपको कोई मोटिवेट नहीं करता, आप नॉर्मली खुद चाहते हैं कि आप पढ़ें. तो ये मैंने सीखा कि yes, this is something that I had to personally do. So this is something that I really enjoyed. Similarly, the question that virtual learning helping or is it hindering the learning processes? Uh,
Hmm.
I'll share with you the example of the Spanish flu back in 1928.
Mhm.
उस वक्त तो ना इंटरनेट था ना शायद डिजिटल रिसोर्सेज थी, लेकिन लर्निंग का प्रोसेस तब भी नहीं होता.
Okay.
It was going on. Universities तब भी बंद थी, colleges, schools तब भी बंद थे, लेकिन you know what they did? The interesting thing, the teachers started writing letters to their students, sharing notes with them, sending them books. This was very, very encouraging when I came across this information कि आज से 100, 150, 110 साल
Hmm.
पहले भी इसी
Hmm.
तरह की सिचुएशन थी, लेकिन
Hmm.
उन सिचुएशन में भी उन्होंने विद इन द गिवन रिसोर्सेज एटलीस्ट हल निकाला. So
Right.
this is something very positive, and we should keep this in mind, all of us. Similarly, this also gives us the opportunity, this virtual learning, to reconnect ourselves or reintroduce ourselves to the distinct distance learning processes and
Right.
understand its significance. We all know that Allama Iqbal Open University is famous and known for their engagement with distance learning. मुख्तलिफ यूनिवर्सिटी और भी होगी
Mhm.
within there. लेकिन
Mhm.
हमें एक्चुअली में उसकी सिग्निफिकेंस का एहसास शायद कोविड में ही हुआ कि डिस्टेंस
Right.
लर्निंग भी
Right.
एक इफेक्टिव टूल हो सकता है
Right.
नॉलेज डिसेमिनेशन के लिए.
Right.
I personally believe that no situation justify halting learning processes at all. If life is learning, it must go on. As simple as that. If student cannot reach knowledge, knowledge should reach students. And if
Thank you,
knowledge
Pastor.
cannot reach students, they should reach.
Thank you. We shall come back to you with I think more on your student experience. But let's go to Mavish and listen to her experiences as well. How about your experience, Mavish, in past 3 months?
Afsha, I had, multiple types of experiences. One was related with my students at Rana Child Welfare Foundation, which was obviously very different as compared to my university students. And then among university students, I had different experiences with the public sector university and then a private sector university.
Right.
So
Right.
from everywhere, it obviously at higher education level, it depends a lot on type of students that you have. And then obviously the social background they come from and the level of facilities and infrastructure that they have. So I had no problem whatsoever at past university because the minute it was announced that universities are going to be closed down, we automatically shifted towards Zoom classes and Google Meet. On the other hand, obviously there were problems in public sector, and it took a lot of time to shift towards that. Keeping in mind my own organization, I think it was actually a blessing in disguise because we had to develop then our infrastructure. First thing, luckily we had laptops. We got a number of laptops from an organization back in December, not knowing COVID is coming. So we had laptops, yeah. So,
Lucky
but
you. Okay.
yeah, that was something which we had, but I realized कि बिजली इतनी जा रही है that we need to buy a good generator. So we bought that. So मुझे लगता है कि it was actually an opportunity for us and as an organization to develop our infrastructure, which I think applies to everybody. Yeah, I think it was actually initially it was challenging. We had to think about a lot of expenses, but obviously then it helped us. And then I'm also happy and glad about the fact that that the kids that I teach at Prana, those kids who are going to schools, they have their online classes just the way my daughter has. So they need to come to, and they are coming to Rana, and we have Wi-Fi there and we have laptops there, so they are getting the chance to learn Zoom and Google Classroom just the way my daughter is learning these things.
Nice.
So it was actually a blessing in disguise, I would say.
Thank you, Mavish. Khadija, I'll be coming back to you with a slightly different question. And when we were talking about, Khadija, are you there with us, right?
Ji, I'm here.
Okay. So when we were talking initially about the shift from brick to click, my specific question is that how do you see the preparation of our teachers, and specifically working with the teachers who are not in higher education institutions, because higher education institutions have other sort of professional development as well as infrastructure as well. How would you comment at the preparation of school and college teachers who are working on the ground with the local communities? Do you think there are some specific preparations that they needed which they did not have? Because it's not just teaching face to face and then teaching to a computer screen. So what do you think were the preparatory needs for these teachers and are still there?
जी बिल्कुल and so I think Afshan, I think जो कुछ तो चीजें obvious हैं, which is digital skills के अंदर training के online अगर आपने पढ़ाना है तो वो सिर्फ एक medium of teaching and learning का change नहीं है. You have to plan completely differently. You have to think about student engagement completely differently and many other factors. But I think that question actually only applies to the subset of teachers who will in fact be or who were during this time making the transition right to teaching through a tab or a computer. But I would say that in a broader sense, the जो सवाल इस वक्त create हो रहा है teachers के किरदार के ऊपर, it goes back a little bit to what Faisal was saying, कि अल्टीमेटली टीचर के रोल के अंदर हमने कितनी एम्पावरमेंट रखी हुई है और कितनी इंडिपेंडेंट डिसीजन मेकिंग की एबिलिटी रखी हुई है. हमने टीचर को इतना प्रिपेयर किया हुआ है कि वो अपने रोल को समझें as really people who are caretakers of the well-being and learning of the children who they are supposed to be supporting. And in that role as being the ultimate caretakers, they have to make good decisions on their own. They have to take initiative on their own. अगर कोई काम नहीं आता या एक नया चैलेंज फेस हो रहा है तो उसको उसके बारे में सीखने की जिम्मेदारी भी उस टीचर की अपनी ही है और फिर लोकल लेवल के ऊपर और लोगों के साथ कम्युनिटी के अंदर मिलके वालिदैन के साथ मिलके लोकल सॉल्यूशंस ढूंढने की जिम्मेदारी भी उस टीचर की ही है जो मैं पहले बात कर रही थी आपसे जो लीडरशिप का मैं जिक्र कर रही थी दिस इज व्हाट आई
Leadership role, right?
So I think I really see very much leadership is a muscle, right? जितना आप उसको पहले से exercise करके रखते हैं उतना वो अभी developed होता है, right? Imagine कि अगर हमारे teachers का role in normal times, pre-COVID times, वो अपने role को ऐसे ही देखते हैं कि हमारी यही जिम्मेदारी है, तो imagine करें कि वो कितनी तेजी से आपकी सारी teaching force जो कि एक massive teaching force है across the country, right? Public sector, low cost private sector और non-profit sector की अगर आप teachers में ला लें वो टीचर्स जो गरीब इलाकों में बच्चों के साथ अंडर रिसोर्स स्कूल्स में जो काम करते हैं अगर आप वो टीचिंग फोर्स खुद ही इमीडिएटली जो है वो मोबिलाइज हो जाती है खुद नहीं होती तो हम विद मिनिमल काइंड ऑफ सेटिंग अप एंड डायरेक्शन one could have mobilized that teaching force. I think by and large we've seen in COVID that has not happened, unfortunately, right? I look at the work that Teach for Pakistan fellows are doing or what Faisal is doing in his capacity or what Mehwish is doing along with the other staff at Rana. And I feel like these are isolated examples of excellence, frankly. And that makes me very sad. So I think that's, when we talk about teachers ki preparation, I would say rethinking के teachers के role को empower और strengthen कैसे करना है और उनमें individual leadership की सलाहियत और सोच कैसे पैदा करनी है that really is the preparation that we require because इस किस्म के global pandemic में हमारी कभी भी one size fit all solutions नहीं होंगी जो एक national लोग provincial या even district level के ऊपर implement हो सकें these solutions will have to be thought through very very individually.
Thank you so much. Taking that along, Faisal, I would like you to link with it again because it's good that you have the experience of both sides, the teachers as well as the students. While I was looking at it and analyzing the situation, I could see that on the one side, as Khadija mentioned, teachers themselves have not been in a role of being change agents or of being the mobilizers or something. They have been confined mostly in their professional life to their classrooms and have not been able to think beyond classrooms. And sometimes I even say they don't think beyond textbooks. They are confined to their curriculum. They are confined to their textbooks even. So on side, this is how the teachers have been practicing, and then the students have been more in a role of the followers. That's it. So whatever the teacher is guiding in a classroom, whatever the teacher is feeding them in a classroom, they are only at the receptive role. How do you see that the students' role also shifted, or were they able to cope with this shift? Were they able to go towards what you were talking about a few minutes ago, the self-disciplined practices and self-disciplined study? Because I'm practicing distance education at Allama Iqbal Open University for past 15-16 years, and I still struggle when the students come from a formal system, and I have to keep reminding them that this is a different system. You have to even make your own timetables and stuff. So how do you see the students were prepared for this or were not prepared for this, and what were their challenges specifically?
Okay, first of all, what we need to understand is that virtual learning or virtual classroom is different than the physical classroom. Even the method of dissemination of knowledge or information is different. The methodology is different in physical classroom as it is different in a virtual classroom. ये मुख्तलिफ हैं. जो टेक्निक्स हम फिजिकल क्लासरूम में अप्लाई करते हैं वो टेक्निक्स हम वर्चुअल क्लासरूम में उस तरीके से अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते. हमने उन मेथड्स को अकॉर्डिंगली जरा सा अल्टर करना होगा. I mean, Being a teacher, I have already tried to alter that, and being a student, what I found that yes, we'll have to adjust accordingly with the changing needs. यानी जिस तरीके से क्लासरूम में टीचर आके हमें पढ़ाता था और हम उससे नोट्स लेते थे, या मैं जाके पढ़ाता था और स्टूडेंट्स मुझसे नोट्स लेते थे, अब वो पढ़ाई का अमल पहले से हम कर लेते हैं. यानी when I had to come online, obviously I had to come prepared with my lectures, with slides, with my PowerPoint presentations, and मैं उनको पहले से आर्टिकल्स या बुक्स या रिव्यूज के लिए भेज देता हूँ, क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स को पहले से अपने आप को मोटिवेट करना जरूरी होता है, which is otherwise not possible. So what I believe is that courses for virtual classes must be designed by keeping in view, in my view, these 3 points. One, the courses must be interesting. क्योंकि मैं law पढ़ाता हूँ तो इस angle से, I mean, we can obviously make a physical classroom interesting, but we'll have to do that in a virtual classroom even more so. क्योंकि laptop के सामने पढ़ाना, and when you know that there is connectivity and disconnectivity issues, and when you're teaching to 100 or 50 students, so sometimes, like I share with you my story. Like one day I was teaching and बीच में disconnect हो गया था internet, and I was still teaching about 20-25 minutes to just a laptop. Then I realized that look, you will have to actually keep an eye on that as well. So you have to make your classroom interesting as well, not only for the teacher but for the students. Then practical, theoretical चीजें virtual में एक online session में पढ़ाने में उस तरीके से मुश्किल होती है. When it's my personal experience when it comes to cases or practical issues, demonstrating them or sharing videos or audios or any other material with them. And above all, it has to be focused as well. Focused in a way that we have observed a lot of distraction when it comes to a physical classroom. हम पॉलिटिक्स भी डिस्कस करते हैं, कभी कभी फ्रेश न्यूज भी जब आ जाती है तो वो भी बच्चे पूछते हैं. द लेवल दैट आई टीच obviously and the subjects that I'm involved, political science and law and human rights and all that, crimes and criminal justice system, students come up with questions. So sometimes it takes us away from what we are there in the classroom for. So the courses which have been designed, in my view, that they need to be very focused, so that to keep them in the loop. So it is a shift from knowledge dissemination to learning acquisition. हमने students को ये समझाना होगा कि मेरा पढ़ाना भी जरूरी है, लेकिन आपका पढ़ना मुझसे ज्यादा जरूरी है. You have to acquire knowledge, and this is more important for you than for me. So उस तरीके से हम उसमें सेल्फ मोटिवेशन और सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन कर सकते हैं. अदरवाइज अगर हम वही तरीके कार अडॉप्ट करेंगे जो कि हम नॉर्मल क्लासरूम में करते होते हैं, कि स्टूडेंट को जबरदस्ती बिठाते हैं, वो इधर उधर देखते हैं, हमको कहते हैं नहीं फोकस करो, ब्लैक बोर्ड या व्हाइट बोर्ड को देखो या मुझे देखो, ये पॉसिबल शायद वर्चुअल में नहीं होगा.
We have that theater shaped classrooms as well, where they're about to look at the front. Okay, Faisal, we've got some of the questions coming online as well, and because what you were talking about, I think this question is very pertinent and related to what you were just commenting upon. Somebody has asked that students in a virtual environment are facing communication problems as well. The technological challenges are on the one side, and then students, yes, if I think of it myself as well, when there is a teacher in front of me and 3 other students are asking questions, I feel encouraged to ask a question. But if I am in a virtual classroom, this is a totally different environment. So how do you see, and how did you handle if such issues were coming up, that some of the students become completely silent, some of the students become more vocal? So how do you manage those communication gaps?
This is a very interesting question. Since I teach at Islamia College and the other sister universities on the campus, what I've personally observed कि हमारे पास students पाटा से भी होते हैं, the ex-पाटा, and हमारे पास students बलूचिस्तान से भी होते हैं और कुछ remote areas दीर और सवात से भी होते हैं. उनकी communication skills otherwise be most of them, not all of them obviously, लेकिन उनके ज़्यादातर communication skills classroom में भी poor होते हैं. क्लासरूम में भी क्लास क्वेश्चन पूछने से पहले इस तरह आपने कहा you feel encouraged, even I would slightly take it from there और कहूँगा कि even they don't feel encouraged in a physical classroom where it is conveniently or relatively more convenient perhaps to ask a question from your teacher. उस इशू को वो इशू है. Even some of the students don't join online. तो हमारे पास female students भी होती हैं. अभी मैं आपको आज का ही प्रॉब्लम बता देता हूँ. I just received a text from one of the female students in my class कि sir, we cannot share our numbers in a joint WhatsApp group जिसमें हम links वगैरह share करते हैं. तो what do I do? तो मैंने कहा have another number and designated number for this particular purpose, and जब ये खत्म हो जाएगा तो done away with that number. तो खत्म हो जाएगा. तो इस तरह के एप्रीहेंशन स्टूडेंट्स को होते हैं, अभी भी हैं. What we need to do is to make them realize that look, this is the only option that we are left with. I wish if we were having more options, we would have done something more, something that could suit your interest. But since we are left with this only option, so you'll have to cope up with that. And the only way to do is to speak up. The only way to learn how to ride a bicycle is a matter of fact is to ride it. So डरने की मतलब जब तक वो बोलेंगे नहीं शायद ये डर नहीं जाएगा. You'll have to let them speak, and that is possible जब आप उनको frequent assignment, quizzes or interactive sessions में involve करते हैं, तो that is possible. Yes.
Right. I think sometimes we take it for granted, and in a regular classroom we already had set protocols for everything, but when we went into virtual learning and teaching, there were no preset protocols, so we could not initially give very clear instructions to our students as well, that who gets to speak when, and what's the manner of communication within a virtual classroom. And as you mentioned, I was also thinking that I think having your virtual classroom and then having a social presence with your WhatsApp group or with any other source helps a lot. And some of the students, if they do not communicate during the class, they communicate much better in those WhatsApp groups or otherwise. So yes, having multiple modes of communication helped me a lot as well during these 3 months. Coming back to you, Mahwish, we discussed about teachers and students and their preparations as well. You mentioned something specifically about your university experience, that at a private university, you just mentioned it, that this was easier sort of, right? Having the infrastructures. Can you elaborate on that, if a public sector institution also want to develop their infrastructures and facilities, what are the key things that you think they need to offer or they need to provide their teachers at institutions?
Yeah, Afsha, I think more than the university, just like Faisal said, it's now students' responsibility also, because sitting at home, it is now their responsibility to get a laptop or to get access to a computer and to internet. So obviously in public sector university, there are a variety of students coming from different backgrounds. And just like Faisal said, yes, I have students who have not yet attended any one of my online classes. Because they are in areas where, certain mountainous areas of Chatral or somewhere, so that they cannot access internet, and then people were telling us, tell them to go to a net cafe. So even for that, they had to travel 7 to 8 hours to go to a net cafe to just download a paper. So it was a challenge, and the responsibility now, we do not have any other option. There is no other choice. Right now, we have to cater to whatever is happening. So the students, they need to take responsibility. Keeping in mind the private sector university, most of the students came from a privileged background, because it is obviously an expensive university. So in that case, having a laptop or access to internet is not an issue. So obviously that was a problem. Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to my experience, in my case, because the students were, like Faisal was mentioning, when the students were from different backgrounds and they were having these issues, we recently had a discussion at our own academic council, and something that Allama Iqbal Open University is thinking, and I think that's a very thoughtful thing for others as well, that the mobile companies that we are negotiating with, we are asking them to provide, for instance, contract phones, for instance, internet packages, for example, if the study period is only for 3 months. So for 3 months, give some subsidized internet rates or something for the students as well. Because sitting in the campus, you're right, I don't have any issue. The universities are mostly equipped with the technological resources, but for our students, yes, you're right that it's more about them. And one of my students just texted me today that for past 3 days, they after the thunderstorm, they did not have electricity. So he was saying now the next weekend is final exams. So I'm traveling to some such region where I will stay with my relatives and I'll be taking my exams online. So yes, very.
What Peshawar University has done, I would just like to share, because they have kept in mind all these considerations. So they've given 1 week for the students to download and then upload their paper. So that is actually good because they're considering the problems of the student.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's not the case in FAST University. And at FAST we have 1 hour paper and they have to, upload it after 1 hour. Yeah.
That's a very interesting point. Before going back to Khadija, I would like to unpack that as well. The time limits and the calculations, because we were in the distance education already, as Faisal mentioned, at Allama Iqbal Open University, for a 3 hours paper, we reconstructed the paper in such a way that now this is open book examination, and instead of 3 hours, we are giving 9 hours.
Okay.
So multiply by 3. So if they have internet issues, if they have to travel somewhere and upload the paper or download the resources. So what we are doing is we are restructuring even the assessment features as well. And that definitely we need to do that. Khadija, I would love to listen to your thoughts as you mentioned the role of teachers as a change agent or as a leader in this whole scenario. How do you look at the role of parents? Because when we are talking about distance education, learners are sitting at their homes, and specifically talking about school age students, how do you see the parents' role shifting in all this scenario?
Yeah, it's so I think ये शायद इस सारे कोविड के क्राइसिस की सबसे शायद खूबसूरत बात जो सामने निकल के आई है, वो पेरेंट्स के रोल के ऊपर जो थ्योरी में, एकेडेमिया में, रिसर्च में तो एस्टैब्लिश है कि वो कितना क्रिटिकल है, वालिदैन का रोल या फैमिली सपोर्ट सिस्टम्स का रोल बच्चों की लर्निंग में, मगर वो प्रैक्टिस में हमारे डे टू डे में एजुकेशन सेक्टर में हम शायद कभी कभार उसको ओवरलुक कर जाते हैं. And with this new disruption, I think that role has come to the fore and front and center. And I'll just say, in literally every single one of the remote learning examples that I can share with you where I've seen success, even for Teach for Pakistan fellows, there is a parent who's played a wonderful role. And it's ranged from things like, I've heard of conversations where a fellow has called a parent and asked them कि आपके पास क्या tech access है बच्चे के पास, अगर मैं क्लास करूँ WhatsApp के ऊपर तो क्या ये हो सकेगा, नहीं हो सकेगा. And the parent has said, नहीं है मेरे पास इस वक्त स्मार्टफोन, मगर मैं खरीद लूँगा अगर बच्चे की पढ़ाई के लिए ज़रूरी है तो. We've had a parent say, हमारे पास इंटरनेट का access regular नहीं होता, mobile data, but then walked around with his phone across around the in his entire locality and found an office jahan open internet tha, and then downloaded the file jo teacher ne bheji thi, gone back home, shared it with the child, had the child do his work and come back. And parents are doing these really cute things where teacher ne jo kaam bheja hai wo bacche ko oversee kar rahe hain aur tasveer leke bhej rahe hain ki ye galat kiya hai, and then the teacher is saying koi baat nahi, it's about practice, right? So it's all right. So it's beautiful, right? We've had mothers send us audio notes जो हमारे fellows को, जो हमारे teachers हैं, उनको दुआएं दे रही हैं कि आप जो चीजें भेज रहे हैं वो हम साथ साथ सीख रहे हैं. मैंने 8वीं जमात पास की थी, उसके बाद मैंने पढ़ा नहीं, तो ये आप भेजते रहें, जो आप काम करवा रहे हैं बच्चे भी कर रहे हैं, मैं भी कर रही हूँ. So incredible stories, I think, of parents जहाँ हमारे मुल्क में एक अजीब सा अनट्रू स्टेरियोटाइप बन गया है कि गरीब जो पेरेंट है वो या अपने बच्चे की पढ़ाई की फिक्र नहीं करता, या वो उसको उसकी कोई कंसर्न नहीं है, या वो कर पाता नहीं है क्योंकि वो इतना गरीब है और वो इतना फंसा हुआ है अपने मसलों में। कोविड जैसे टाइम में जहाँ इन फैमिलीज के पास अक्सर के पास खाने को नहीं होता था, उसमें आपको वालिदैन कह रहे हैं कि हम वक्त और पैसा और अटेंशन सब कुछ देंगे अगर इस बच्चे की पढ़ाई और इसकी एंगेजमेंट कंटिन्यू रहेगी। इट्स एन इनक्रेडिबल थिंग, राइट? सो आई थिंक दैट्स अ बिग लेसन फॉर आवर टीचर्स आल्सो कि ये अब ये जो एंगेजमेंट्स, जो रिश्ते ये डीपन हुए हैं टीचर्स और पेरेंट्स के, और फोकस में आई है कि बच्चों की बेहतरी के लिए जो चाहिए उसके लिए हमें अपने रिश्ते डीपन करने हैं। ये अब हमने पोस्ट कोविड इसको जारी रखना है इस सिलसिले
इसको। हाँ, एग्जैक्टली, सस्टेनेबल बनाना इसको बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट है,
सस्टेनेबल बनाना,
वापसी नहीं हो, बिकॉज द थिंग्स दैट यू आर शेयरिंग दैट्स सो एनकरेजिंग कि इसको टेक फॉरवर्ड करना भी उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट है। नाउ देयर आर टू क्वेश्चंस व्हिच एनी वन ऑफ यू कैन टेक इफ यू लाइक टू. One is about peer learning, as we talked about teachers, what they are doing, how they want to, how they should be prepared for future with technological teaching. What's the role of peer learning in classroom situation? We do have activities, group activities, we do have paired activities as well. So anything specific that you can share with us that you managed to do some sort of peer learning, some sort of group learning among the students in virtual environment as well? So Faisal, Mehwish,
in one of my courses,
you were able to design? Yeah. Sure.
It was not really different, but obviously it was online. In one of my courses, I always have group activities and group projects. So it was the same because the semester ended in between. So when we started the semester online, I told them that the project is going to be the same and you guys are going to work in groups, just the way you guys were working when we were having face-to-face classes. So they continued, but obviously keeping check on them the way, or having them to present the way it would have been if it would have been face-to-face classes. It was not like that, and I would not be ashamed to admit the fact that even it was my first time to take online classes, so I was learning how to actually download Zoom, or actually how to work on Google Classroom. So I was learning, and I was then helping them to learn, and in fact my students were helping me to learn some of the softwares.
That's so pure constructivism going on.
Yeah, I used to call one of my CRs and I used to tell him that किस तरह हो रहा है और क्या हो रहा है ये, और एक मुसीबत चढ़ी हुई थी, लेकिन yeah, it was both way. I agree with Faisal when he said that nothing can be compared with face-to-face classes, and when you actually interact with your students in front of them, and we managed something.
Right. So Faisal, anything specific you want to share when the students are far apart from each other as well? How could they collaborate, or how could they do some group work?
Well, I tried. मैंने कोशिश की by giving them a group assignment or something like that, and obviously they came up with a reply that will be
how successful was it?
Not as much as I was looking forward to it. मैं चाह रहा था कि ज़्यादा successful हो, लेकिन since students भी diverse जगहों से हैं और उनकी grouping उस तरीके से बनाना भी मुमकिन शायद नहीं था, तो उसलिए उस तरीके से students को हम शायद उस loop में ज़्यादा देर तक रख नहीं सके थे. उनको शायद ये पहले से हम सिखा नहीं सके थे कि this is how you will have to virtually interact with them in a for a learning purpose, यानी पढ़ने पढ़ाने के लिए. वैसे तो obviously they are connected with each other on WhatsApp and all that, but when it comes to doing some research or doing some collaborative फिर उनके लिए ये काम करना obviously काम लगता है, तो वो काम करना तो obviously is difficult than having just a chit chat or interaction.
Right. Khadija, there's some very interesting question. As we were talking about equal opportunities and stuff, how would you see the opportunity of remote learning and virtual learning for special needs students? How inclusive is this?
I mean, I think there are organizations and specific groups that have been raising this issue. I think, if I'm really honest with you, I don't think that within the mainstream, though, this issue is being contemplated in as big a way as we need it as we needed it for it to be. और वो कैसे होगा? Because जिन बच्चों की special needs होती हैं, उनके लिए हम अपने आम mainstream education में ही सोचते हैं. तो normal times में, तो वो COVID times के अंदर तो हमारी conception से भी बाहर है ना कि वो how do you even start to wrap your head around the challenge here enough to be able to try and solve for it? So I think, honestly speaking, I think that by and large they're a forgotten part of the problem, which is heartbreaking. And I think it even as you're asking the question, it's making me like look into myself as somebody who claims to be an educator of sorts and question myself to say, how far has this been something that I've kept in mind? And I'll be honest with you, I think it's not enough. But I think that's the other thing about COVID is that, you know, there's so much conversation now on education. का एक novel coronavirus है तो novel education crisis है. But मैं अक्सर ये मेरे दिल में एक सवाल उठता है कि बहुत सारी चीजें जिनको हम इस वक्त lament कर रहे हैं, अगर हम उनको अपने pre-COVID time से compare करें, I don't want to make it sound simplistic or make it sound like there is not a problem, of course. But बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें जो हम pre-COVID time से अगर compare करें तो वो शायद इतनी dramatically different ना हो. For instance, अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि quality of teaching and learning क्या है हमारे mass schools के अंदर जो हमारे schools हैं, तो वो अब हम learning loss की बात कर रहे हैं कि बच्चा जब स्कूल वापस आएगा तो उसको क्या भूल चुका होगा या वो क्या 6 महीने नहीं पढ़ा होगा, उसने साल नहीं पढ़ा होगा, उसको क्या learning loss होगा. मगर वहाँ पे एक सवाल ये भी है कि जनरली भी जो बच्चा हम क्लास 1 से 2, 2 से 3, 3 से 4 पास करे जा रहे हैं, वो हर साल में लर्निंग लॉस लेके अपने साथ जा रहा है, बिकॉज इवन इन अ रेगुलर क्लासरूम दे आर नॉट रियली लर्निंग दैट मच, राइट? सो I think that this is a moment for us to be really honest about कि जो हम इस वक्त claims कर रहे हैं कि these are the things that we are really concerned about. Really, how concerned have we been about them in the past? So perhaps if we acknowledge with honesty that we've not really looked at these in the hard way that we needed to, then there is an opportunity for us to move on from here onwards and do it, you know, hold ourselves accountable.
Thank you. Right. Faisal, further developing upon what Khadija was saying, how do you see post-COVID era? After having an experience of remote and virtual teaching and learning, would you like this to stay? Would you like this to stay partially with the formal classrooms? Would you like this to just be a supplement and not really a very big part of your teaching and learning experience? How would you like this virtual learning and teaching experience to be there in the post-COVID era? Or what parts of it do you think should stay? And we should keep doing that.
Yeah, first of all, adding to what Khatija has just said, we have to actually redesign the learning. We have to redefine the learning. Learning should not be stereotyped from the books and from the notes and from the teachers. We have to actually diversify this word learning and then understand कि उस सूरत हाल में हम किस तरीके से सीखने का अमल जारी रख सकते हैं, क्योंकि सीखने का अमल सिर्फ क्लासरूम तक महदूद नहीं रहता, बल्कि क्लासरूम के बाहर भी हम जिंदगी में अदरवाइज इन प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ और डेली लाइफ हम सीखते रहते हैं मुख्तलिफ चीज़ों के हवाले से. अब उसको हम किस तरीके से इनकलकेट कर सकते हैं ताकि वो हमारे लिए बेनिफिशियल भी हो और उसका पर्पस भी पूरा हो जो हम क्लासरूम में टीच कर रहे होते हैं. दिस इज समथिंग वी हैव टू थिंक. Secondly, so far your question is concerned do we want? Yes, this is not a bad thing. इसमें virtual education की कोई खराबी नहीं है अगर किसी को इंटरनेट एक्सेस नहीं है. अगर कोई इंटरनेट तक नहीं पहुंच सकता तो ये शायद हमारी इनएबिलिटी है इंटरनेट प्रोविजन की या उसको इंटरनेट तक उसको पहुंचाने का. इंटरनेट बजाते खुद और वर्चुअल एजुकेशन बजाते खुद कोई प्रॉब्लमेटिक चीज नहीं है. रादर लाइक शी सेड we should have done this way earlier. This may sound to be something new for us in Pakistan, but obviously throughout the world this has been practiced since a very long time now. Webinar may be a new word for us and our students here in Pakistan and remote areas in Pakistan, but not throughout the world. So yes, a good bit of physical classroom. Obviously, that is also important to have a student-teacher relationship going on. And beside that, for research purposes and just to keep such situations like COVID in mind, or because it's not only COVID that can keep us apart, there could be other situations that a school teacher is unable to reach the students, or a student is unable to reach the teacher or his classroom. So that
Right.
can be also complemented in future as well. So this is something that we have to basically keep both the balance between both of them.
Right, right. And would you like to comment upon like formally blending the two systems together? How would you look at that?
I'll rather appreciate that. Because the kind of system that we are, most of the things are obsolete now. We should get rid of some of the parts that are associated to the physical classroom. So that can be complemented. Our attendance can be taken online. Our assignments could be submitted online. We can obviously go paper हम का consumption खत्म कर सकते हैं. तो बहुत सारी चीजों पे हम online जा सकते हैं. उसमें scope है, और अगर हम ये करें तो मेरे ख्याल में future के लिए we'll be prepared. Probably, God forbid, but if there's another COVID, we'll be ready.
Right. So Mavish, coming to you, as Faisal commented upon the part of teaching and learning, how would you comment upon online assessments, open book exams, or multiple modes of assessment? How do you see that?
I personally feel that it's really good. My papers generally used to be more analytical and more conceptual rather than just telling the student, you're asking them to write a definition or something. Obviously, at higher education, you come up with such papers. But COVID has made it compulsory for teachers to come up with such questions and such papers, because it is obviously an open book exam. But it was, my students of public sector university, they were having a heart attack. Ma'am, ये किस किस्म के questions हैं और ये क्या होगा?
Yes.
और 3 दिन तक तो WhatsApp पे questions मुझसे पूछे जा रहे थे. So I had to tell them, this is part of your exam. You have to understand the question that is part of your exam. So वो उनको बेचारों को भी कसूर नहीं है. वो बिल्कुल they were not used to such questions. Analyze किसे कहते हैं और comment क्या मतलब है, और so I think it's also again a blessing that they are now forced to actually come up with such. We are forced to come up with such papers, and students, they have to actually attempt and think about the questions rather than कि रटे रटाए questions हो. वो तो अब नहीं हो सकते open book.
So what I'm hearing as well is that teachers would also need to prepare themselves to prepare online questions or online tools of assessment. Having a tradition of paper pencil exam or specific sort of lab work or something. So teachers need that kind of preparation as well, that how to prepare the questions in a different way as well. The assessment in a different way as well. I'm right now in the process of preparing an exam for research students, and just to share with all of you, I'm preparing different research scenarios and then asking them to choose different methodologies, choose different tools, choose different things, and then give me the reasoning why they are. So these are totally different questions, which we never used to make when we were having an examination room where they were sitting and writing it down.
Right.
So yes,
it's learning experience for us teachers also, because we are actually developing ourselves as well.
Right. So in the last 5 minutes that we have, I would come back to you one by one and listen to your final comments. And specifically, if you have a specific message, either for the planners and execution bodies, if you have specific message for the teachers and learners, if you have a specific message for community, for the society as well. So beginning with you, Khadija, what will be your last comments and message?
Afshan, I'm not as wise as being able to give a specific message to anybody, but I'll just say, I'll say thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to be part of this discussion and listen to all these wonderful panelists. Honestly, it's making me think a lot right now. I'm zooming all the way back from this picture and realizing कि शायद थोड़ी सी contradiction है. जब हम वर्चुअल लर्निंग की बात करते हैं, सो इंटरेस्टिंग। जब हम बच्चों की बात करते हैं, छोटे वाले बच्चों की, तो हम एक डिफरेंट लेंस, एक ज्यादा एम्पैथेटिक लेंस से उनको देखते हैं व्हेन वी आर लुकिंग एट के वर्चुअल लर्निंग में वो किस तरह पार्टिसिपेट कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं।
Right.
बट समहाउ हायर एजुकेशन में जो कॉन्वर्सेशन अभी तक रही है हमारी नेशन वाइड, उसमें वो जो ओनस है वो शिफ्ट हो गया है, where you know, where we are expecting kids who come, well, young people कह रहे हैं आप, they don't like to be called kids, and यहाँ 2 यूनिवर्सिटी प्रोफेसर्स बैठे हैं जो मुझे कहेंगे कि क्यों उनको किड्स कह रही हो, हम उनको बड़ा कहते रहते तुम उनको बच्चा कह रही हो।
मैं खुद उनको बच्चे कहती हूँ तो वो कहते हैं मैम हम बच्चे नहीं हैं।
हाँ, so there we go, right? So I don't know if it's a factor of age is why we feel like they should be taking more responsibility here for making the most out of virtual education. But it occurs to me कि उनकी जो अक्सर families के circumstances हैं, जिनकी constraints हैं, खास तौर पे वो लोग जो privilege से नहीं आए हुए, वो तो वही हैं, वो छोटे बच्चों के लिए भी वही हैं और बड़े बच्चों के लिए भी वही हैं। So it's just making me think कि शायद हमारे system में हमें holistically देखने की जरूरत है कि हमें, मुझे नहीं पता इसका आंसर क्या है, बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सवाल है, बट शायद हम ज्यादा एम्पैथेटिक लेंस से ट्रीट कर सकते हैं हमारे ओल्डर स्टूडेंट्स को भी, जैसे हम छोटे बड़े बच्चों को देखते हैं।
Right. Thank you so much. Faisal, coming to you and adding something to your comments. Do you think this whole scenario of virtual learning, because there was a last question there that I just got, that do you think that the screen time that the students are spending on screen now, how do you address that? Is it affecting learning positively? Is it affecting learning or their other social activities positively or negatively? How do you see that as well? Because obviously now they're
Right now,
more time on screen.
yeah, right now we hardly have any other social activity left. So most of the time the students as well as the teachers will have to just stick to the
So how can
screen.
as a teacher I can manage that
we have
time
to
on
actually increase our online time. So there was a little disruption. Yes, तो ऑनलाइन में स्क्रीन टाइम तो ज्यादा होगा स्टूडेंट का, और मैं इसको इसी तरह देखता हूँ कि स्टूडेंट्स उससे हमेशा सीखेंगे ही, चाहे वो कोई फॉर्मल अंदाज से कोई सिखाता है या कोई इनफॉर्मल अंदाज पे किसी वीडियो से सीखते हैं या किसी भी पॉजिटिव चीज से सीखते हैं। Obviously, for the younger kids, there are areas online जिसमें वो नहीं जा सकते या जिसमें उनको नहीं जाना चाहिए. So there comes the role of the parents कि वो इसको उनको किस तरीके से मैनेज कर सकते हैं, और उनको सिर्फ लिमिट किया जा सकता है उन्हीं एरियाज के बीच में जिन एरियाज में उनकी लर्निंग ज्यादा हो रही हो, rather than spending more time playing games and watching YouTubes and doing other social or not social perhaps activities.
Thank you, Faisal. And Mavish, you get to have the last comment of this session, and then we will close.
Okay. I would quickly comment on this, that it is obviously individual's responsibility to get used to this new style of learning. But at the same time, people like us who are privileged, who have resources, it is also our responsibility to help those people who do not have those resources to get used to this new type of learning.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mavish, Faisal, and Khadija. And thanks to our audience as well. I hope this discussion, in which we cannot come to a conclusion definitely, was helpful enough for people to think further and think deeper when we are moving forward with the virtual and remote learning and teaching. Thank you so much to Juan as well for giving us this forum to talk about it with a live audience as well. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz to everyone.
Thank you, Ji. Khud Hafiz.